If you're looking to buy an Nvidia GPU or upgrade your computer, you're going to want to wait a little bit longer. There's some pretty massive news. This time it's going to come from Asus. We reported back when they first started raising the prices due to tariffs. They were one of the first companies to outright raise prices, and it was a pretty considerable amount, around 25%, as we've seen in the market, and we're going to talk about this. Most of the GPUs that are really highly priced are going to be Asus. You're not going to believe the amount that they're going to cut these GPUs. It's going to be really worth it, most likely, waiting perhaps another week or two, or maybe even less, to get one of these GPUs. Here is a prime example. One of the GPUs that I constantly point out for being ridiculously overpriced, it's going to be the Asus 3080 Ti Strix. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with the 3080 Ti Strix. It's a great performing GPU, has a great PCB. The design is fantastic. If you're doing a build with other Asus products like the motherboard or even a case, certainly it's going to look really good. My problem with it is that at retail, it was pretty much selling for $2,099 for a very long time. You'll notice that you rarely saw these on the secondhand market. You can call it your friendly neighborhood scalper. Scalpers do not want to touch a 3080 Ti at over $2,000. The Founders Edition sits nice and pretty at $1,199. That's a huge price delta. We're talking about $800 to $900 difference for literally the same GPU. Usually for that difference, you would expect to go up at least one class GPU, if not two. So you would expect a 3090 out of this, and in fact, many 3090s are priced lower than this Asus Strix. So that's going to be definitely sort of the poster child for a lot of the problems that we saw. Asus, unlike EVGA, who manufactured in Taiwan, didn't really have as many issues with tariffs as Asus did. And of course, they're going to pass those on to the consumer. So 3080 Ti, $2,099, that was ridiculous. Recently, we have seen that price gone down. Demand has been waning. Priced pretty good is a Windows CD key. Today's video sponsor is going to be VIP-CDKdeals.com. Very simple process. You can get a Windows 10 Pro CD key and remember to use code CC20 for a nice discount. Price certainly went down a considerable amount. You can now find this maybe closer to like $17.99 or thereabouts, which honestly is still way too high when you have, like I said, Founders Edition at $1,200. It's still popping up at Best Buys across the country, so you can't say that this GPU doesn't exist. It definitely does. And then, of course, even more abundant is the EVGA for the 1.3. That one's around $1,429, $1,400. That one has been pretty much in stock constantly at that price, not only at Best Buy, but from EVGA themselves, where pretty much everybody can get them in the country. So that's a big price difference. EVGA to Asus, massive price difference for the same GPU. In fact, you can get an EVGA 3090 for the 1.3 for about the same price, if not a little cheaper than what the 3080 Ti Strix was. So these price cuts, and then Asus did say that they're going to cut about 25% around April 1st. So I know April Fool's Day is on that day, but I think we should pretty much believe them. They wouldn't do it this far in advance. So Asus did say roughly up to 25%. So it may not be 25% across the board, but I'm pretty sure you're going to see those really highly priced GPUs come down a lot more than before. And that's going to push other companies to bring theirs down as well. A lot of companies like MSI and Zotac were really pushing the limit on what they can sell a retail GPU for, with really amounts that dwarfed whatever the original MSRP set by Nvidia were, especially the models that were introduced after the initial RTX 3000 launch. We're talking about a 3070 Ti. Those were regularly $1,000 or more, and they're now getting down under $1,000 for the first time, under $900. We've even seen examples of a $699 Asus TUF 3070 Ti. Is that an example already of that 25% tariff cut? I think it looks like it. I mean, $700 for a 3070 Ti is only $100 more than the Founders Edition, which is the base MSRP, and you should expect to pay around $100 more for a third-party AIB model. So the proof is in the pudding. We've seen these lower prices. I've been covering them all throughout last week and the week before. We've seen these prices trend lower and lower. So hopefully by next month, we're going to see prices go down even more, especially for the other models. I mean, a lot of people still want 3050 3050s and 3060s, it's not all about the high-end GPUs, and those are still really overpriced. Like you can see a 3050 or 3060, especially Asus, they're going to be $500 in the $600 range. Those have to go down a considerable amount. Remember, the RTX 3060 should be an MSRP of $329. I certainly have never seen it for that low, so it's going to be really nice if they can actually get down around in that price. Now, if GPU prices do come down, then you're going to start to ask the question, if you're used to the high prices but you can get something better now, which GPU should you get? It's kind of tough right now. It's going to depend which GPU you see and for what price. A lot of these are going to be changing prices at different retailers at completely different times. Even right now, depending on where you live, what your source to buy your GPU is. Like if you're really lucky, you're going to have a Micro Center near you. Second, maybe a Best Buy. Third, it's going to be, of course, maybe Amazon sometimes, Newegg, or other online places. So sometimes you can have the same GPU at different prices in literally the same state or the same place. You're going to have to shop around and really look, because not everywhere is going to reduce these prices at the same time. But you can bet that when they do reduce the price, you're going to have that choice which GPU that you get. If before, perhaps you were budgeting for a 3060, but with lower prices, maybe you might be able to get a 3070 now. Maybe the prices will be low enough that you can actually fit it into your budget and get a much better performing GPU. So there's also going to be the question, not only which GPU you should get now, but should you even buy a GPU now? With new GPUs about to be released fairly soon, we're going to have GPUs from Intel to enter the competitive market, AMD RDNA 3, and of course this is going to be towards the end of the year, but the RTX 4000 is also going to be released. My opinion is that if you find a good price now and it's a GPU that you're comfortable with, it performs really great, and it's the lowest price we've seen in the last few months, probably not a bad idea to get it if you need it. With the way things are going, the future is very unpredictable for GPU pricing. The RTX 4000, of course, it's going to perform better than RTX 3000, but it's definitely going to be considerably more expensive, and it's also going to be much harder to find at first, judging from every single launch that Nvidia has done. Of course, same will hold true for RDNA 3 from the AMD GPUs, and then Intel, right now it's a mixed bag. It can go either way. We don't know if they're going to be highly competitive. That yet remains to be seen. So definitely RTX 3000 is going to remain relevant all the way through the end of the year, in my opinion, even further depending on the GPU. It's not going to be outclassed completely by the RTX 4000. Even if performance will be a big difference, you're going to be more easily be able to find an RTX 3000 GPU, and amongst a myriad of issues that it can actually have. So it doesn't mean that if you buy a GPU now, the price is going to tank when the new one comes out. I don't think they're going to be obsolete at all. But of course, if you're in no hurry to actually buy a GPU, then yeah, probably the longer you wait, it might get a little better by the end of the year, barring any major events or any other, tariffs or anything coming in to really ramp up the shortages again. If everything kind of stays the way it is now and we have new releases, you may then have the option of getting a new model GPU like an RTX 4000, or perhaps getting an even better discount on the current RTX 3000. Just my opinion, right now things are definitely getting better, and sometimes these price decreases sort of happens in cycles, and it's possible prices may jump right back up after a while. So if you see the GPU you want and you need a GPU, it's within your budget, performs great, probably would be a good idea to get it. So all in all, to see a nice almost official announcement from Asus that prices will go down up to 25%, that's definitely going to be very, very good. I think everybody's going to be very happy, because that is going to push all of the other prices down, of course, except the Founders Edition. That's already the cheapest that it's been, but that's going to make all the other companies, even if they haven't announced it yet, have to push their prices down, or else their GPUs are going to stay on the shelves. So I'm very curious what happens. Let me know down in the comments if this is going to drive you to actually buy the GPU if you've been waiting. If you see an Asus GPU for 25% less than it is currently, is that enough off for you to actually want to buy it? Or are you so frustrated at this point with all of the rampant, very high pricing, low availability that you've given up until perhaps the next generation? We'd love to hear what you think. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.